Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel Storytime! Before we read this amazing story, please subscribe!
Checks out the library. And there's a few books that says meow, bus, zoom, zoom, read quietly, sign, so much more. This is by James Dean. But before we get started, please subscribe and like. So, let's get started. Pete's mom is taking him to a library for the very first time. The librarian gives Pete his very own library card. Cool, says Pete. The librarian smiles. Time for the tour. The librarian takes Pete through the library. There's a big desk where people wait to check out books. Pete sees some of his friends reading at a long table. It's very peaceful and quiet. How relaxing! The librarian takes Pete to her favorite room. There are a lot of Pete-sized chairs and tables and shelves. There are books of every shape, size, and color. What do I do now? Pete asks. Now you read a book. The librarian says. Which book should I read? You can read any book you like, says the librarian. Pete looks around. There are so many books. Pete picks up a book all about airplanes and jets. Zoom! Soar! He reads and pretends he's a stunt pilot. He flies a super fast jet and does loop-de-loops and spirals high in the sky. Then Pete finds a book with dragons, wizards, and unicorns on the cover. He reads it and imagines that he's a powerful wizard, using magic spells and using a special wand to defend his castle against a fire-breathing dragon. Next, Pete opens a book about spiders and insects. He reads it and imagines that he is a scientist studying all types of critters in the wild. He has to study some critters and very fast to study others. Then Pete chooses a book with all sorts of scary monsters on the cover. It is a book about fairy tales. Pete reads it and he pretends that he's a dark, spooky forest, trying to outsmart a big bad wolf. Pete puts the book back on the shelf. It is too scary. Pete opens a book about the pyramids in Egypt. He reads it and pretends that he is an explorer, riding a camel across the desert and climbing to the top of a giant pyramid. Next, Pete picks a book with all sorts of robots on the cover. He reads it and imagines that he is a robot at a robot dance party. Beep, bop, boop, beep, beep, beep. That's funny. His arms and legs make whizzing sounds when he moves. When Robot Pete speaks, he says bleep, bop, blop, bleep. Next, Pete picks up a book about superheroes. He reads it and makes believe that he is a superhero, flying around the city in a colorful cape, chasing bad guys and saving the day. Then Pete spots a book about the ocean and all its creatures. He reads it and imagines that he is a scientist in a submarine deep in the Atlantic Ocean, looking for whales, squids, and sharks. There are so many wonderful books to read at the library. Pete can be whatever he imagines with the book. Reading is super groovy, which we're already reading this book, which is funny, right? And Pete is reading more books in the book, and if there's a person in the book and is reading more books and more and more and more. Oh gosh, that's hilarious. But the end. I hope you enjoyed this story. This story is groovy. Make sure to subscribe and like. Bye!